Hello, my sweet friends. Today, I'm my second to last shelf video, and we're starting like no other. We're starting with the shot on video films, and we're starting with two VHSs that are apparently very rare. Twisted Tales, which is an indie shot on video film from the 90s, made by Brimstone Production and One by One Film and Video. Now, these are pretty obscure. I didn't really know anything about the company, the guys who made them before buying them, and I haven't seen this one yet, but I did watch Addicted to Murder, and it wasn't very good, and that's something you'll pretty common about these flicks. They are great. I'll just get that one off. 555, released by Massacre Video. Nice release. Mediocre film, but for a shot on video, it's actually not bad. Bloodletting, I haven't seen this one yet. I've only heard about it through the grapevines. By grapevines, I mean Red Letter Media. Oh, these are falling apart. I should probably put back that other tape. I'm gonna try. Yes, here you go. Gut Pile by Sub Rosa Studios. I don't know. The Burning Moon. Now, I recently rewatched this because I craved for something very, very gory and out there, and honestly, I rated it at 7 the first time I watched it on IMDb. I have no idea why. This is a pretty boring, not so great film. It does have awesome, gruesome gore and probably some of the best special effects, especially for a shot on video 80s or 90s film from Germany, but it's okay. If you take out all the plot, it's great, and you just do a montage of all the gore. This is Anthropophagus 2000, a film by Andreas Schnass, well known for Violent Shit, which I wanted to get that collection when it first came out. I don't know, I guess funding was low and I never did, and I kind of regret it because I think it's out of print now. But Anthropophagus 2000, obviously a remake of this film with the same name by Joe D'Amato, except modern, and it's an Andreas Schnass film. It's pretty entertaining, pretty gory. And Slaughter. I don't know, it's British. Now we're getting into the 70s. Now the next genres are like 70s, 80s, and 70s classic and everything. These are just movies that didn't fit in any other of my categories. So, yeah, as you probably saw in like the last video, like Eurotrash had a bunch of 70s stuff, but this is mainly like American horror that didn't fit in any other of my subcategories. Let's start with Tourist Trap. Now, why wasn't this an exploitation? It doesn't really feel like an exploitation film. Honestly, it feels like a typical, pretty good, pretty fun 70s American horror film. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, this was almost in the exploitation category. I feel like it's, at this point, it's too well respected, too well loved to be an exploitation film, even though it started as a low-budget American horror flick. And it's probably one of my favorite horror films. I fucking love The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Fucking great one. Alice, Sweet Alice. Now, why is this in the Slasher Classics collection? It's not really a slasher. Well, it's a proto-slasher, but it's really enjoyable. It's another one. Like, the 70s is probably my favorite decade for horror, and stuff like this is why. These old midnight movies DVD that I still, honestly, if I find them, I'll still buy them. I really do enjoy these DVDs. What's the Matter with Ellen and Whoever Slew Auntie Roo. I think I have What's the Matter with Ellen on one of those Scream Factory 4 horror packs. I haven't seen any of those, but from what I can see, they're pretty high-class horror films. Now, this is why I love 70s cinema, the Dunwich Horror. Very slow burn, very atmospheric, great fucking film. Honestly, too bad the Blu-ray, I think, is out of print and fairly expensive. Phantom of the Paradise, a modern for 70s, take on a Phantom of the Opera. I think it's Phantom of the Opera, but like with rock music. I think this is more like a rock opera. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Apparently the best version of this flick. I haven't seen it yet, and I've owned this Blu-ray since like 5-6 years. Now this won't come out because it's a snapper case, but The Exorcist, of course. And finally, for 70s, Dawn of the Dead, the Ultimate Edition. I love the fact that I bought this for like fairly cheap when I went to Chicago. Fucking so happy, honestly. This needs a legit Blu-ray release. I know Arrow has one, but I think that one is also out of print. 80s now, and let's start with The Man, The Myth, The Legend, John Carpenter, and The Fog. I love The Fog. I really do appreciate this film. It's one of John Carpenter's most underrated. Oh, sorry. Christine. No, I haven't seen Christine yet. Only heard good things. And of course, The Thing, which is... This is probably my favorite horror movie of all time. It's pretty great. The Evil Dead. Fucking love this one. I like this release. Like, I don't even need to talk about most of these films. You guys already know I love them. This is a German edition of Evil Dead 2. And Evil Dead 2 is probably my favorite. Now, I know this one isn't 80s, but I wanted the series to be all together. Army of Darkness. Reanimator, come on. Just a masterpiece. Bride of Reanimator, again, another masterpiece. An American Werewolf in London. Such a great film. Like, honestly, I can't really say much about these. You guys already know how badass these are. Night of the Creeps, come on. I really need a Blu-ray of this. The Entity, I haven't seen this one yet. Dress to Kill, Brian De Palma, another Criterion, one of the rare Criterions in my collection. This one is fucking great. I really do enjoy these Brian De Palma thrillers. And this one is my favorite. Blowout with John Travolta and Nancy Allen. Like, how can you not love this film? Life Force, Tobe Hooper's Life Force. Based on a novel, science fiction, and you see the French model naked the entire film. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know why, because those all sound like great qualities. Nightbreed, now this is great. This is a great little flick. I tried to watch it once and I fell asleep, but I rewatched it and didn't regret a minute. Fucking great. The Blob remake, come on guys, this is again, like, there's a difference between modern remakes and 80s remake, and The Blob and The Thing are probably a great example. There was some shitty ones too, but Chuck Norris Silent Rage, I'm not a big fan of Chuck Norris. I haven't seen this one yet, but apparently it's pretty good. The Basket Case Trilogy. I saw a video by In Praise of Shadows that discussed this franchise, and I do agree with him. The third one isn't my favorite. It doesn't really fit, but I still enjoy the three movies in this franchise. Brain Damage, Frank Lauder. I'm a big fan of Lauder, and this is another one like fucking great. Monkey Shine, George A. Romero's Monkey Shines. I haven't seen this one yet. Dead and Buried, starring Robert Englund, before A Nightmare on Elm Street, and this one is a masterpiece. I think there's a Blu-ray of this. I don't know, but I need a Blu-ray of this because this is just a great film. But honestly, I'm happy with this Blue Underground release. It has everything you need except maybe the picture quality, but I'm not too stingy about Blu-rays with these types of films. House, not my favorite. Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3. I love the first one. I like the second one. I haven't seen the third one. This isn't horror, this is more action, but it's still 80s. Cocaine Wars, pretty boring. Not a big fan of 80s action films. I know, guys. I know. Phantom of the Opera, this is the 80s take, and this one also stars Robert Englund. I haven't seen this one yet. I should, because I'm a big fan of Robert Englund. And Phantom of the Opera, honestly, for like the classic film series, Phantom of the Opera is probably my favorite. The Jigsaw Murders, I haven't seen this one yet. 4 movie marathon, Funhouse, Phantasm, Serpent and the Rainbow, and Serpent and the Rainbow isn't my favorite. I haven't seen the rest. Did I see the Funhouse? I don't know. Oh, this is a underrated obscure gem. Summer Camp Nightmare, in the same vein as Sleepaway Camp, but this isn't a straight up slasher. It's more of a coming of age, kind of Lord of the Flies-esque film. Really enjoyable one. This obviously a bootleg. It never came out on DVD. This needs a DVD or Blu-ray release. Chud, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, fun fucking movie. Plus it has John Hurd, of course, the voice of Krusty the Clown. Street Trash, and just classic B-movie, classic shit. Again, great little B-movie, Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Orama. If you like tits, that's the movie for you, guys, and it's quite enjoyable. The imp character is great. I love this movie. Kroll, I haven't seen this one yet. I'm not really into sci-fi. The Deadly Prey, of course, this classic from the video era, was rediscovered as like this irony, so bad it's good flick. I have a problem with these let's like it for ironic reasons. Like, a lot of the movies I own, I know are bad, like technically, acting wise, directed, like they're bad. But I legit have a love and affection for most of the movies I own, and I'm not one of those like hipster that likes it because it's ironic. I do truly enjoy most of the films I own, even the cheesier ones, even the bad ones. I always find something good about them that I do, and literally for straight up reasons I enjoy. So films like these, and Troll 2, like, they're just bad movies, and this one is enjoyable, but it's not great. Probably the only movie like I enjoy of this type, like so bad it's good, and I like for irony, is probably The Room, and even that I need to be in a screening. Blood Diner, a kind of remake of Blood Feast, but for modern 80s generation, and it's fucking great. I love this one. This is a German release, because I'm not sure. I think this now has a Vestron video release. I'm not sure. Deadbeat at Dawn, Jim Van Beber's Deadbeat at Dawn is only film that I own, and I wish I owned more, because this one is great. Runaway with Tom Selleck's great mustache. I haven't seen this one yet. Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer, pretty fun. Omega Syndrome. Grindhouse Funhouse said it was bad, so I haven't watched it yet, because I respect his opinion on films. Night Kill, I haven't seen this one yet. Now we're getting into, sorry guys about these little labels. Now we're getting into the slashers. Yes, slashers. So these are mainly from the 80s. And yeah, they're 80s slasher. The Mutilator, this is such a fun movie. Like, this is one of them that I do really just enjoy for what it is. It's a pretty fun movie with pretty great kills. Microwave Massacre, this one's just straight up bad. Blood Rage, fuck. This is a good movie. The Prey, I don't know if I watched it last year when I was fairly depressed and I didn't really enjoy it. I might need to rewatch again. Got this recently, I haven't had time to watch it, but The Chill Factor. The Majorettes, this is a terrible movie. Nail Gun Massacre, this is a pretty terrible movie too. This is an infamous little old slasher film, but it's pretty fucking bad. Splatter University, pretty fun, like way funner than Nail Gun Massacre. Silent Night, Deadly Night, my favorite of the Christmas slashers. The Prowler with special effects by Tom Savini, great slasher. Maniac Cop by William Lutzig, pretty good movie. Maniac, signed by Lutzig, but on with black Sharpie. Yeah, not by whatever. But this is probably in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. When a Stranger Calls and Happy Birthday to Me. Happy Birthday to Me is a Canadian flick, and When a Stranger Calls is a boring flick. Child's Play, pretty fun. Not a big fan of them, of the Child's Play franchise, but I enjoy them for what they are. Now, this is my favorite of the mainstream 80s horror icons. There was Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger. I prefer Freddy Krueger because he actually has a personality. Intruder, pretty fun movie with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. Pretty fun. And finally, for the 80s slasher, I guess, because there wasn't really anything from the 90s, because I'm not a big fan. Nightmare, love this one, classic video nasties. Now we're getting to 90s. Now, I'm not a big fan of the 90s, as you probably saw from one of these videos, but I do enjoy most of the flicks I have here. Needful Things, really good movie based on a Stephen King novel. Sorry about that burp. But pretty fun movie. Faust, directed by the guy that made Society, and it's bonkers. Wolfen Body Snatcher, this is the Abel Ferrara version, Coma and Bad Moon. I haven't seen any of these. Seed People, pretty fun. Idle Hands, I haven't seen this one yet, but apparently it's a classic, but from the cover it just looks like generic 90s shit. The Exorcist 3, I also have this in a snapper case, so I won't be taking it out. Scanner Cop, Vinegar Syndrome. No, I haven't bought the 4K, even though I kind of regret it, because this is like an old 4.3 gray release, kind of terrible release, by the way. But this has the French dub, and it's hilarious. From Dusk Till Dawn, probably my favorite 90s flick of all time. A 90s horror flick. Pretty fun one. Now, I only bought this for Full Tilt Boogie, because I don't care about the Dusk sequels. Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs, this is great. Samurai Cop, hilariously so bad it's good, but again, I do I'll just say legitly, I do have love for this film. Castle Freak, signed by Jeffrey Combs, got to meet him, he's a badass, I love the guy, great guy. Finally, for the 90s flick, sorry guys, Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker, fun one. Now we're getting into pre-1969, because that's kind of where I divide the classic horror period from the modern horror period. Let's start with, of course, Phantom of the Opera. Like I said, this is probably my favorite of the classic black and white 30s horror. Plus, I'm dumb. It's in color. It looks great. Honestly, it's still cinematography still looks great. Boris Karloff in Frankenstein's, really enjoyable film. Of course, these also, I don't need to talk about them. King Kong, great film. The Blob, the original one, and I do like the original one, but it's a 50s. It's really cheesy. Snapper Case, I won't be taking it out, but The Haunting. Monsters Crash, The Pajama Party, which is a great DVD to throw on at a party. This has a lot of stuff, not just a movie, just a lot of fun stuff. Attack of the Puppet People, fun little low-budget 50s horror sci-fi flick. Now the big daddy of all the 50s sci-fi horror flicks, The Fly, love The Fly. The Birds, now I also have Psycho, but I lent it to a friend. 1 Million Years BC with the beautiful Raquel Welch. X, the man with the X-ray eyes. Sorry guys, gotta get up on the bed. The fuck bed. Fun movie. No, there isn't a lot of fucking on this bed. Tales of Terror. Again, these are Roger Corman's Edgar Allan Poe films. They always look great in color, and they're just so much fun. And finally, of course, the Night of the Living Dead is the last one of the classic 1969. This is what I define the beginning of the modern horror, modern exploitation, modern everything. This is the big daddy of them all. Now we get into the modern horror. Honestly, this is probably the most boring part. Tremors Anthology, I haven't seen any of those. Wrong Turn, the second one is the best. The third one too. The ones directed by Joe Lynch, I think, are pretty good. The rest are meh. Adam's Green, Hatchet 2. Now where is Hatchet 1? I can't find it anywhere, and I'm not paying full price for modern horror flicks, honestly. Hatchet 3, as you can see there, I bought them all on special. Victor Crowley. I do really enjoy the Hatchet franchise, and Adam Green is one of the best modern horror director, but he's not as good as Ty West. Ty West, Have Babies With Me. I fucking love, honestly, Ty West. I don't have a lot of his movies, but I did watch a lot of them. He's probably my favorite modern horror director, beats everyone. Not hard to beat, but beats everyone. Beats Eli Roth, beat Rob Zombie, beats everyone. The Innkeeper is probably my favorite. It's such a fun movie. The acting is great. Characters are relatable. It's great. House of the Devil. Oh, this is how you make an 80s throwback, people. Take note. The Conjuring. Fun movies. I do enjoy the Conjuring franchise. Universe, because everything needs to be a universe now. Conjuring 2, in Britain, it's fun. Annabelle Creation, the only good Annabelle film. Directed by another guy that I really do enjoy, that directed Lights Out. Speaking of Eli Roth, Cabin Fever, not my favorite. I do prefer Ty West's Cabin Fever 2. Now this will probably piss off a lot of you, but Cabin Fever 2 is the only good Cabin Fever film, except for the last 12 minutes. If you ended before that, it's way better than the first one. It's Superbad meets Cabin Fever, and honestly, characters are likable. Eli Roth couldn't write a likable character if it saved his life. Sideshow, fun full moon 90s, 2000, from 2000, so it's borderline 90s. Little flick about circus freaks. It's really surprising, really underrated little flick. Trick or Treat, yeah, I know I'm basic, but fucking love this movie. Cabin in the Woods, yeah, I'm basic, I love this movie. Mandy, yeah, I'm basic, I love this movie. Get Out, yeah, I know, I'm a basic bitch. I like these movies. Get Out. Get Out isn't even a horror movie. Shut the fuck up. We Are Still Here, one of my favorite modern films. This is obviously an homage to Lucio Fulci. It even has Crampton, what's her name? Barbara Crampton. The Neon Demon, yeah, I like this film. I really did enjoy it. I went to see it in the theater with my friends in college, and we appreciated it. John dies at the end, from the guy that made Phantasm, I think. Fun little flick. Stoker, now this was Chan Wook-pang's first and I think only American film, and it's pretty good. The My Bloody Valentine remake, one of the remakes I do appreciate. Prefer the original, but it's when I'm in the mood for a modern remake, this is the one I pull out. Same thing for The Town That Dreaded Sundown, but The Town That Dreaded Sundown, the original, is amongst my favorites, so not surprising that this movie is also one that I really did enjoy, because it's not really a remake, it's more of a sequel. Like, the movie exists in this universe, and it's really a fun movie. I like this one. I didn't care for The First Strangers. The Stranger's Breath Night. I did really enjoy this one. Behind the Mask. Now, Scream, take notes. This is how you make a meta slasher film. It's really good. Might need to buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Honestly, I really like this movie, but I always forget it exists. And every time I rewatch it, I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Chillerama. This is another one of these grindhouse influenced film. This is an anthology film, and it's good. I got it young, so it got me hooked on like the type of films that I collect now. I rewatch it today and it's not as good, but it has a good segment. The sperm segment is probably still my favorite. Planet Terror. This kickstarted my entire spending habits. Grindhouse, Tarantino's Death Proof, and Robert Rodriguez. I love that this came out because when I was young I really wanted to see these in theaters, but in 2007 I was 11. So my parents didn't want me to go to the theater to watch these movies. So now I have the entire how they were meant to be seen, but in the comfort of my own home. Now I can watch it, Mom and Dad. I can watch it now. I'm a man. Machete. I love Machete. Beyond the Black Rainbow. I haven't seen this one yet, but I should. I really should. Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. I haven't seen this one yet. Apparently it's really good. It Follows. Such a fucking masterpiece. I know it's slow, it's boring. No! Guys, horror movies don't need to be jump scare fests to be scary, to be creepy, to crawl in your skin. This is a horror movie. This is a roller coaster ride. It's fun. It spooks you, but it's a roller coaster ride. This is a fucking horror movie. Stakeland 2. Love the Stakeland franchise, but there's only 2. I need the first one. These are like, as someone who is intrigued by the filmmaking, the first one and the second one are a great tell of how much you can do with a low budget, and I appreciate them for that. Pervert. This is a throwback to Russ Meyer films, and I really enjoy this one. Sex, death, and gore. Like, this is if Russ Meyer smoked a bunch of crack and was living in modern times, and he just like, we need murder, we need tits. Here you go. And it's distributed by, well, I think it's produced too by TLA, which was an old independent, not really independent, but an old video store, but now it's a porn company. So that's pretty fun that they made what is basically a softcore erotica. I should really review this in my dirty movie corner because it is absurd and it's hilarious. Black Sheep, Kiwi film, so it doesn't fit anywhere else. William Friedkin's Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey, Juno Temple. Fucking love this movie. It's great. And William Friedkin was like, you know what, fuck it. It got an NC-17 rating, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I'm fucking releasing it. I don't give a shit. I'm releasing it. And that's why I love him. Don't Breathe, that was a fun one to go see in the theater, and it's a pretty good modern flick. The Devil's Reject. The only good Rob Zombie film. The only good one. If you disagree, you disagree, but it's the only good one. Saw, the complete movie collection. I enjoy Saw. The first one is obviously way better than what people give, what regular people give it credit for, but it's a great franchise. Finally, for my modern shit, well, there's still my next one, but Black Dynamite, which is another one of these great, like, little throwback films, but this one to blaxploitation, and it is legit a good film. Now, indie horror, this is indie modern stuff, so like lower budget modern stuff. Like when I mean lower budget, I mean her name was Torment by what's his name? I used to really like him. I still do. But Dustin Wayne Mills, I still do, but getting these types of films is now getting really expensive because of exchange rate, and shipping from the States to Canada is pretty expensive. So I have these four that I got a bunch of years ago. I wish I could buy more, but it's getting really hard. The Puppet Monster Massacre, I think this was his first feature-length film, and it's all puppets, and it's great. Easter Casket, now this suffers from what a lot of these films suffer. Terrible, I mean fucking trash audio. I'm sorry guys. Snuff It, pretty fun one. Now I used to be a big Cinema Snob fan, and not so much anymore. But this is the Nudies, Rudies, and Crudies, which were a bunch of reviews he didn't post on YouTube because they're basically porn, but public domain ones. Pretty fun. And his movie, honestly, it's a fun YouTuber movie. It's basically an homage to Giallo, and it feels good. You Can't Rent Here Anymore. This is a movie directed by the director of Invaluable, which he signed, and Tom Sullivan signed this DVD, so he made a little drawing. I have it too on my Evil Dead 2 limited edition. He's a great guy. I met him in Chicago. I met the director of this documentary, which I can't remember the name of. Great fucking guys, honestly, great fun guys. Flesh for Inferno, I need more of this guy's films, which his name is Richard Griffin. Yeah. He's good. Now these are higher budgeted ones, but I still threw them in there. The Endless, directed by Aaron Moore and his friend collaborator. Great film. The Evil Within, again, go see In Praise of Shadows video about this. It's fucking great, really insightful. And finally, for today, Samurai Avenger, The Blind Wolf, pretty fun homage to samurai films and westerns. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and there's only one shelf to go.